And we're back. And now we're going to be talking about the 80s.
Taking it back. I was like not even born.
You wasn't born?
Yeah, 1985. Showing my age.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know.
Ooh, old.
Yeah, you know.
It's just a year
Well, I
older
look
than I
good
am.
though. You know.
Oh, you look good? You think so?
We look young. We look
Yeah,
like we could easily pass for like 22.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'll take it any day of the week.
All right, so let's take it away, the 80s. Now, we're talking about some great commentators when we're talking about the greatest team of all time.
Gorilla
Who is it?
Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, or Jesse the Body Ventura.
Now, see, Bobby Heenan and Jesse the Body Ventura, when I say people say that, oh, heel commentators, that's stupid, they shouldn't do that. You got to look no further than them two because they were just great.
Heenan was the guy. So quick-witted.
I mean, he was quicker than Jerry the King Lawler at times.
Early Jerry Lawler.
Talking about like the early 90s. I mean, he was just quick. He could insult anybody on a dime. And he never lost that.
He was funny. Even now.
Oh, yeah.
Even now, you know, ever since he's recovered from having throat cancer, you know, I mean, Bobby Heenan is just like sharp as a tack, always on point.
And, you know, having his partner there, Gorilla Monsoon, he was always, it didn't matter if they were, you know, on the show or doing like little backstage segments or whatever. He was great as a face announcer, and they had like probably, I would think, the best chemistry. Like King and JR were really good together, but I think that Gorilla Monsoon and them, they had like just instant chemistry.
Yeah,
all the time.
Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon were just awesome, especially when, you know, Gorilla Monsoon would play the straight man to kind of Heenan's antics and all his craziness. And then later, you know, I think that definitely like Jesse Ventura and Gorilla made a good team too.
Jesse Ventura was very funny, and he was a great heel. What about WCW?
Definitely, I think back in the NWA days, one name comes to mind: Gordon Solie, who's kind of like the godfather of all wrestling announcers. You know, just definitely, I mean, words can't express how great of a commentator announcer that Gordon Solie was. I mean, he was the man.
He could just put over anything.
Yes, he could, and he could just take you there. I mean, he was like a jack of all trades. You know, emphasized the drama. He could take you there. One guy that I guess us growing up know him better as one of the lead announcers for Nitro, but Tony Schiavone actually got his start in the old school AEW or NWA.
And that man's been around forever.
And also Eric Bischoff, he was like kind of a throwback to the AWA.
And you know, Eric Bischoff tried to get a job with WWF. He sent in a tape, and apparently Vince saw it, and he didn't remember it or whatever, but I just think it's funny.
Yep,
he tried to work for Vince.
Yep, he did. And Vern Gagne gave him his start in AWA. And I don't know who the main announcer over there was. If anybody out there can help me with that, because I forgot who the main commentator in AWA was. But I know Eric Bischoff was one of them. Larry Zbyszko did a little commentary back in AWA. Lee Marshall was one of the commentators too. From later, you know, he was known at WCW, and then he was also the voice of Tony the Tiger. I know he did a little work back then too, but he wasn't the only one. I know that there was his name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it right now. But definitely, you know, a lot of those guys we know from WCW, they actually got their start out in the NWA, AWA. Tony Schiavone, really, he's decent. You know, I mean...
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with him. I always liked his voice.
Yeah, he was okay. You know, he made, like, a lot of events seem... You know, he kind of seemed over the top, like, oh, this is the big... Every week was the biggest night.
This is the biggest night of our industry.
Of our industry, but, you know, a lot of, you know, Gordon Solie definitely, like, planted the seed for, like, all of the guys we know and love on the microphone today. But, going back to the WWF discussion, you know, definitely Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, I mean, they took us there. Then later on, Jesse Ventura. Like, the first WrestleMania I ever saw was WrestleMania 6. And, I mean, Gorilla Monsoon was just, you know, I was like, wow. Yeah, especially for that Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior main event. Like, I mean, that commentary, even though the match could have been a lot better, and Hogan carried a lot of the match, you know, it's the commentary that made that match special.
Well, that's true, because they were just going crazy. And I mean, like WrestleMania 3, just, you know, the immovable object and the unstoppable force and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's just, you know, they took those matches like Hogan, and yeah, like, it wasn't a technical masterpiece, but Hogan had all the charisma and everything there. But without that commentary, I just don't think the match could have been as big as it became. Like, you stick like a Michael Cole, it just wouldn't work. It was just like, it worked at the time, and it just had that level of charisma that it needed, and I just like love that commentary. And, obviously talking about when you get to, Heenan and all those guys, like Heenan couldn't be beat. Even when he came in WrestleMania 17, Gimmick Battle Royal, he blew it out of the water.
Yeah, definitely great. And then, I definitely got to show my respects to one name that comes to mind, Lance Russell. I grew up around the Memphis area, so he's a legend in Memphis wrestling. Him and WMC5 in Memphis, Tennessee. The weatherman, Dave Brown, was also pulling double duty as a color commentator. So Lance Russell and Dave Brown, if any of you out there is familiar with Memphis wrestling, definitely legends. And one guy we all got to give props to, our favorite interviewer, Mean Gene Okerlund.
Well, did he actually commentate in matches?
I'm not sure that, but I mean,
I know he did WrestleMania 17, but yeah, he has like the voice.
Oh yeah.
Like if I could have anybody's voice in wrestling, it'd be his.
It would be blasphemy for us to have this discussion and not mention Mean Gene Okerlund. His contributions to wrestling, and he got to start in AWA too. Up there in Minnesota. That's where he started out at. And I think that, Mean Gene was just, definitely got it. He's another legendary name in announcing, commentary, backstage interviewing. Definitely got to mention Mean Gene Okerlund. Show respect.
He is like the image on WWF. Him and Hogan, holding the microphone to Hogan. But he was just great. But definitely, some great names in there. And like with Jesse the Body Ventura, his mic skills pretty much got him into being into politics. Without having that ability to communicate a message or tell a story, he never would have made it. Because he's a wrestler, and that puts negative marks all over you. So, definitely some good 80s names. I'm sure that we probably missed some. But, about to move into the 90s and some other teams that we got, move into the 2000s. So many commentators to talk about, but we're going to try to get as many of them as we possibly can.